Hello, everybody. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, kind of depending on where you're joining in from. So excited to be here for MADPD 2019 and sharing some awesome tips and tricks with you all about the new updates in GSuite for Education, as well as some other kind of fun tips and tricks here. We did a session like this last year, and I heard from a lot of you that it was a lot of fun, that you guys enjoyed it. So I'm back with 10 new tricks or tips with the updates happening all throughout the GSuite platform, and super ready to share them with you. So as you pop into the YouTube Live, please take some time to pop over to the chat and introduce yourself. Let us know where you're watching from. And it's a great way to get connected with some other educators around the world. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go ahead and present my screen so that you guys can see my slide deck, and I'll also pop the link into the chat for you, for anybody following along live. Let me find it first. Magic buttons. Excellent. So you should be seeing our welcome, what, Google can do that, edtech.team/madpd19. So this is a great place for you to go ahead and come along, join in on the slide deck. It is your way to make notes if you wanted to, or just add a copy of this to your Google Drive. And welcome, Derek. So excited that you are joining us this morning. So a really quick introduction. I am Emily Fitzpatrick. I am the Director of Professional Development for EdTech Team Canada. So that gives me the opportunity of going around and connecting with amazing educators like yourselves, sharing great tips and tricks, and then stealing the great tips and tricks from you as well to share with other educators. So I work for a company called EdTech Team Canada. And if you haven't heard of us, we're a global network of educational technologists, which really means that we're passionate about bringing EdTech and useful technologies into the classroom to really help and deepen student understanding with a pedagogy-first focus. This slide deck and your next 15 minutes with me are really going to be kind of the tips and tricks of it, rather than kind of the deeper ways you can integrate it, and just to update you guys on those new tools or those slight changes that might revolutionize your workflow in the classroom, or even just you as an individual. But EdTech Team goes around, and we are a global company, but I get the honor of working here in Canada as a previous upper grade teacher. My heart is definitely up here, and we get to share kind of how to use technology. So whether it's in person or on webinars or on online courses, we've got kind of your number one stop for it. Enough about that. Let's get started, everybody. First one is probably the one that I am most excited about from a productivity workflow standpoint. And it's the ability to now be able to schedule emails in Gmail. So before this update happened, a lot of educators and just a lot of people in general were using third-party software, so such as Boomerang for Gmail or other different apps that would allow you to schedule your emails. Example, I'm working late, it's 11, maybe it's midnight, maybe it's 2 a.m., and I'm finally getting through that inbox because this is my time that I'm able to clear it out and start to reply to some people. But I don't really want the other person who I'm sending the email to know that I'm sending you this email at 2 a.m. Or my other example is trying to get a hold of people, and you know when they're in the office or when they're in their office to check their email. You're like, yes, my leadership team shows up at 7:30. I know that's when they open up and get their email. My biggest trick was sending the email then at 7:30. So it's that first one that pops up, and I'm most likely to get a response rather than all the other ones that may have ended up before mine. So what you can do in Gmail, excuse me, Go ahead, open up a brand new message. Beside the send button, you're going to see a triangle now or a shark's tooth. Go ahead and click on that guy and you're going to be able to schedule that send out. So I can make that email and I can say, hey, you know what? Schedule this to send out in an hour. Schedule this to send out tomorrow morning. If you don't see it yet, it is coming. They're on the rollout right now, but I do believe most of your personal accounts will already have that. So you can go ahead and give that a try. Another really great update from the Gmail/calendar world is the ability to RSVP to events without even having to open up your email. I love this while I'm in my email and I might have 2 or 3 different emails specifically just to calendar events. What you can do now is when you hover over top of that email, you can click on that RSVP drop down that's going to appear and you can say, yes, I'm going or no, I'm not. No need to wait for that email to open and then click on the button or pop out to calendar for it. Also great for anybody who may be in an area where the Wi-Fi connectivity is not the best or it takes a little bit to load those emails. Now, as the GIF or GIF pops up, you'll also notice that when you hover over emails now, you've got those 4 options. One is to archive and then delete right away. The other one's to mark as read. And then the very last one, it might be my favorite, it's the clock icon that appears. That allows you to snooze messages. Probably my favorite being like, hey, I don't need to deal with this right now. I want to deal with it tomorrow morning, or I need to deal with it tomorrow afternoon, or maybe later today. I can get it out of my inbox, and then Gmail, if I've snoozed it for an hour, I've snoozed it till tomorrow morning, will pop it back into my inbox for me to deal with then. A really great way that if you're in and out of the office, maybe a lot today, and then tomorrow you want to deal with these, as they come in, you can snooze them as you go, so that when you get back later this afternoon, you already know that you've dealt with a few of them rather than them being marked as unread or then being tagged with a specific label. Moving out of the Gmail world, I'm going to share with you guys probably my new favorite game, Semantris. That's at least how I'm saying it. I don't know if I've heard anybody say it or if that's the correct spelling or pronunciation. But this game is my new favorite because it requires me to use my brain to think kind of outside the box sometime. What's going to happen when you go on into this game is that you're going to get a list of words like you see on the screen right now with one of them being highlighted. I then have to type down in the gray box my one word that I think connects the best with that highlighted word, so sound in this case, rather than those other words there. So I might go ahead and go sound, I'm going to go loud. So I'm going to type in loud. Then they're going to rearrange the words based on relativity to the word that I had typed. And if the blue word, so sound, ends up in the blue box, what it's going to do is it's going to delete all of the words above it in the blue box. So it's kind of like Tetris and kind of like words with friends / like vocab flashcards. A really neat way just to amp up your vocabulary and just your kind of critical thinking skills of what word makes the best sense. In the classroom, I can totally see this being used with my English as a second language students as we're starting to develop that larger vocabulary and we want to connect words together and which ones relate back and forth. Another tool that I don't believe I shared with last year is AutoDraw. And AutoDraw really allows all of you to be able to draw. So if you head over to autodraw.com, I'm going to go ahead and pop this guy in. I'm going to clear my screen because this is from the last time I was playing with it. But I can go ahead and click this pencil with the stars. And now what this is going to allow me to do is this is going to allow me to start drawing. So maybe I want to start drawing a car. So my car is going to kind of look like this. It's kind of connected. And like it kind of looks like a car. But if you look up at the top, you're going to see so many different car options that I'm able to then click on. And yes, I was totally going for like a Formula One racer. And now both myself and my students or my colleagues are really able to see what I was trying to get across and draw. Using the select key, I'm able to go in and make it bigger or smaller. I'm also able to change the color. And then I'm also able to, as you can see, when I right click it, I'm able to copy that image. So then I could copy and paste that image into Google Slides or into a Google Doc or into an email or into kind of any tool that allows you to copy and paste. But I've got that image that works well. If I don't want to draw with my magical pencil, I can also just draw with my regular pencil and it works. And I can also add text to it. Speaking of creating and drawing, sometimes it's really nice to be able to take your data and create your data in a visual sense. So if you go ahead and head over to datagifmaker.withgoogle.com, it allows you to take some simple data and really make it visual. So here's one that I've already created. It's called Spirit Days Votes. Ooh. Grab the link there. There we go. And you can see that I had a class of students who were going to vote for what Spirit Day we should do next. And it's just going to make a really quick GIF or GIF on what that data represents. Really great for working with little learners who may not truly understand the difference between what a 36% looks like and a 30%. But then it also gives you that visual context that right away I know the orange is biggest, and then I can go ahead and I can also see that the green is smallest. And let's take a look at why those were the way they were. You can also download these as .gif files, which allows you then to add them into anywhere or anything. All right, stick with me. I know we only have a few minutes left, but I don't think we're going to go into a Q&A, so I'm going to keep sharing until about 20 minutes in. So the next one I wanted to show you is Chrome Canvas. Now, as a previous math teacher, I was always looking for something on our Chromebooks that would just allow my students to have this blank space and we'd be able to go in and create or do a really quick scribble or drawing or just take really fast notes. And canvas.apps.chrome is a great place for that. As you can see over here at the side, you can kind of pick if you want to use your pencil or your different marker tools or even chalk. I can change the color. I can change how dark it is or the size of it. And what you can really start to see is if I go ahead and write my name, I've got this blank canvas that I can use. So I could go in and then maybe grab my pencil and maybe I want to draw a tree. This is where auto draw might come in handy. But I just have this blank space to use. If you're looking for a blank space that's a little bit more kind of techie or collaborative, because canvas.apps.chrome is not kind of, it's not collaborative in the sense that I could have somebody else in it, Jamboard's the place to be. So if you check out, and give me 2 seconds, everybody, that is not the right email or the website. So let me just go ahead and fix that. Copy and pasting fail on my half. Is Jamboard. Now Jamboard kind of take that blank canvas and blend in the power of Google Docs and kind of that collaborative sharing piece. So here's a blank Jamboard. I can go ahead and change the background if I wanted to. So if I'm drawing a graph, or if I need lines, or maybe I just want it as one solid color or dotted paper. But I'm able to go in and again, I can get my pen and I can write on it. I can erase it, I could change the color. But what I really like about Jamboard, especially the web-based version, is that I can add in sticky notes. So this is my sticky note. I can select the color of it. And now it's like I'm making notes on top of my work. So it's take the best of like your drawings and your slides and your Google Docs and able to bring them all in so that you and your students can go ahead and collaborate. I've heard from lots of teachers that this is a great alternative to Padlet, which is now a paid web tool that they're still able to create those sticky notes, they're able to create those connections. And finally, on the side, you can also add in images, which is another great bonus that I can start blending all of these different media sets to come in and really develop my idea or understanding of a concept or a tool or the problem that we're trying to solve with our students in our classrooms. Heading back the way to Google Calendar, Google Calendar now has this little Meet With icon at the side. And what's really cool with that, it used to say find a calendar, I think it was. But what I can do is I can go in and I can type Michelle Armstrong. She's my colleague. She lives in Calgary, and I believe her session's coming up later today. So you'll definitely want to check that one out. She's going to dive deep into Google Slides, which is awesome and probably one of my favorite tools. But what you're able to do in Calendar under the Meet With is you're able to type in the person's name. And now from there, their calendar then pops up on top of yours. Now, what's a little bit different is that it's not going to stay there. As soon as I exit out of Michelle in this Meet With, her calendar is going to pop up. What's even better is if I have Michelle's calendar open with Meet With, and I go ahead and create an event, Google Calendar's already going to title it Michelle and Emily, and Google Calendar's automatically going to invite Michelle to that event. So those things that we always forget, like actually inviting the person that you want to the event that you're looking at their calendar, Google Calendar's got us covered in that sense. Second last new update or tip or trick on what GSuite can do that is in Google Meet. So as you're running your video calls through Google Meet, you can actually turn on closed captions now. I think this would be great for mystery hangouts or bringing in an expert into your class via video call. Now everybody's going to be able to not only hear them, but they're going to be able to see the words as they pop up. So very similar to how you can turn on closed captioning for a Google slide deck in presentation mode, you can do that in Google Meet as well. And last but not least, probably my favorite new feature, and I know I've said that a lot, but the one that as a math classroom teacher would make a huge impact is being able to insert a drawing that's already existing in your drive into your Google Doc. We use Google Docs a lot with HyperDocs, and then I gave my students the opportunity of answering their questions or explaining their thinking further or using manipulatives via Google Drawing embedded inside a Google Doc. But the trouble is that you couldn't use an existing one, so you had to copy and paste in, and the workflow was really frustrating with it. Now what you can do is you can have your Google Drawing manipulative of maybe patterning blocks or algebra tiles, and instead of having to recreate it in Google Docs, you can just go ahead and go insert, drawing, and then from Drive, and you're able to go ahead and insert that drawing there. Huge difference, saves a lot of time, and a really great way for your students to use the full functionality of drawings in Drawings as a separate app, and then bring it all together in Google Docs. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for stopping by. I'm going to come back so you can see me. And I hope you learned at least a couple things while you were hanging out with me in the last 20 minutes. I had an honor to share all of these tools and tips and tricks with you. If you've got any questions, let me know. I'm going to add my contact information into that slide deck, and I would love to connect with you online. Enjoy the rest of your day, and happy learning, everybody. Bye.